So, Eva, talk to me about what made this the right moment to tell your story, because I have to imagine that this is nothing easy to talk about. And every time that you have to talk to anyone about it, it's like reliving it.
It really is. Actually, we didn't realize how much we would relive it shooting the documentary. So it was incredibly triggering, but it was also very cathartic and healing. We had our therapist on speed dial for sure for those 2 weeks. Um, it was a whole roller coaster of emotion going through it again. And he's out of jail. He's been out of jail for a year now. And also we were feeling a lot of trepidation around talking about it and doing this documentary because we feel like, are we poking the beast? Are we giving him the spotlight that he always wanted? And so there was that, but we felt like we really needed to tell the story because the two FBI agents that solved our case, who are really the heroes in this whole story, they created a brand new DNA technology that solved the Golden State Killer case before they picked up our case. And after they solved the Golden State Killer case, which was 43 years cold in the state of California, the FBI had said to them, that was a fluke, it was a one-off, it's not replicable, and it's certainly not a technology. And they wanted to prove that it was replicable and it was a technology. So ours was the next case that they picked up because it was so DNA heavy after 12 years. And they were able to solve it in 2 weeks
Wow.
after nobody being able to solve it. And so it ended up being a precedent-setting case for the FBI. It was the first ever case adjudicated with this brand new forensics genealogy technology. So it was really incredible. They were totally the heroes of our story. And it was so ironic that I was playing a DNA specialist on CSI Miami, and we would always catch our bad guy at the end of 43 minutes, not including commercials. And in reality, we would not have that technology for another 12 years.
Which is just so wild to think about, because
Yeah.
we're all rooting for you on CSI. Meanwhile, we're not knowing that you're dealing with your own unsolvable case.
We had three, no, yeah, we had three stock, no. Okay, so when I was on the show, David Caruso had a stalker, Emily had two stalkers, Emily Proctor, and I had a stalker. So we had four active stalkers at the same time on that show. It was
Goodness.
it was crazy.
Well, this documentary is not only going to bring attention to the technology, but I think it's also going to get people thinking about the laws around this and like how they can really take action to make sure that this kind of thing can't happen to someone else, because he went to prison and now he's free. So we know that that's got to charge people to say, well, this shouldn't be able to happen. How has that
Right.
affected your mindset?
Well, I mean, what we'd ultimately like to see is longer sentencing
Mm.
because stalking is not a one-off. Stalking is a mental health issue. It's an obsession. It doesn't, and we know statistically that of all the women who are murdered in the United States every year, 86% of them were stalked first. So stalking escalates.
Mm.
Stalking escalates to rape and it escalates to murder. And so there needs to be stricter laws around it, and there needs to be longer sentencing around it because it's a mental health issue that if you're obsessing about one person, you're going to move on to obsess about another. And more than likely, you're going to escalate, especially in cases of domestic violence.
No, I can't stress enough that this is very brave and courageous for you to share what you've been through. Just living with this constantly, how did it shape not just your life, but your daughter's life? Like, what was the hardest part of all of this?
Well, she actually just tapped out because somebody in the last interview asked her a question that triggered her so badly that she was like, I can't, because she couldn't answer the question.
Mhm.
I could tell she was feeling so hopeless and so helpless in the moment that she actually didn't have an answer. And she was like, I can't. She just got up just to go breathe because it's triggering. We will never not be triggered by it because living with that kind of hypervigilance for more than 15 years now, we'll never have the grace of being able to go back to the innocence of what it was before this. She grew
Mhm.
up with it. It's been with her since she's 6. It's informed her adolescence is informed, her formative years. It's, you know, she's lived with this hypervigilance the entire time. It's given her anxiety that she's had to deal with, and depression. And thankfully we've got a fantastic therapist. But, you know, it's not a joke. It rewires your brain forever. He got 3 years, we got life.
And we certainly hope that this documentary will help people to take stalking seriously, because to your point, stalking escalates. What do you want viewers, especially the women who are going to watch, what do you want them to take away from this documentary?
I would really like for them to go to a foundation online called Spark, SPARC, and really delve into the amazing information they have there. You have to be your own advocate. When this first happened to me, I went to my local precinct, and they not only didn't help me, but they didn't even know enough to tell me, oh, go to the main Los Angeles precinct and sign up with the Los Angeles stalking unit. They didn't even tell me that information, but I also didn't know that was available to me. So you really have, so on the Spark website, you can go into their map, type in your state, and it will tell you all the laws, all the stalking laws in your state, and then it will also give you victim advocacy phone numbers, so that you can really know what your laws are, so that when you go into your local precinct, you know what's up, because you have to advocate for yourself.
And this is really good advice. I want to make sure I give you the opportunity to say any other advice or anything else you can share to anyone who might be watching and they're like, hey, I'm in a similar situation and I'm feeling like I don't have anywhere to turn. Anything else you would like to share in addition to Spark?
I wish there was more. Heartbreakingly, around stalking, there is not a lot of advocacy, because there's 13.5 million men, women, and children who are being stalked every year in the United States alone. So that's an astronomical number. And because it's this crimeless crime, the crime hasn't happened yet, it's not taken as seriously as it needs to be taken, because we know that 86% of the murder victims were stalked first. So there just needs to be so much legislation changed around, and there needs to be stricter and longer sentencing to combat this. And now with social media, there's so many ways to be stalked. We just saw the documentary of the mom stalking her own daughter. It's heartbreaking.
Well, we certainly hope that this documentary helps to get people motivated in terms of their laws and knowing their resources and sharing that information and using social
Be your own
media for good
advocate.
to share this info, right? To become an advocate. We really appreciate you taking the time, Eva. I just have to say, completely unrelated, I've been a fan since all my children.
Thank you.
I was like, oh, this is
Thank you.
Maria. I get to say hello to Maria. Okay.
Hello.
This is this is very serious. So I said, I'm gonna show my girl some love at the end. But on a serious note, Eva LaRue,
Thanks, honey. Thank you.
we really thank you. This was very informative, good information for our viewers. And again, so brave and courageous for you and your daughter to be
Thank
able
you.
to
Thank you for
share this.
having me on. I appreciate it.
Yes, thank you so much. Have a good rest of the day.
Thank you. You too.
Bye.